Hi friends, in this session I am going to show the demo of creating REST endpoints using functional programming. In my previous session I have showed the demo of creating REST endpoints using REST controller. So now I am going to create a new Spring Starter project. Going to add the Spring Reactive Web and MongoDB, React to MongoDB to connect to the database. New Spring Starter project. Yeah, I'm going to name it as Flux functional. Selecting Spring Reactive Web and Spring Data React to MongoDB and clicking Finish. In the REST controller, we were using the Spring MVC annotations like @REST controller, body, all those things. But in case of functional programming, we are using with the handler and router function. We will be defining our routes in the router function. In the handler, we will be doing the actual implementation of those REST endpoints. So I'm going to my main class. This is the main class. So I'm going to add the base package which need to be scanned. Scan base packages. So it is com.example.demo. I'm going to save it. So first I'm going to create the model. New package model. So I'm going to name it as employee. So employee model has string ID, name, age and salary. So it's a document, so I'm going to add @ document annotation. Private string ID, private string name, int age, and double salary. Now I'm going to add getter setters for this. This is my ID, which is at the underscore ID in the MongoDB table. So I'm going to add that annotation. If we are not providing, Spring Data will generate random ID and it will store for that. Now I'm going to create my handler package. So this I'm going to create one handler class naming as employee handler. So in employee handler, it takes server request and server response. We have to send the output as server response, and every method it will get the server request as the input. So it is similar like HTTP request and response in our normal web programming. So to connect to MongoDB, I need to create a DAO class. So I'm going to create one DAO class interface that extends React to Mongo repository. So first I'm going to create package DAO, and that I'm going to add employee DAO interface, employee DAO, which extends React to Mongo repository, extends React to MongoDB, Mongo repository, and it's a repository DAO class, so we need to add repository annotation at the repository. And this Mongo Reactive expects the type and the ID, so it's an employee type and ID is string. So I need to add import for the employee. So let's save this class. Now I am coming to my handler. This is a component class, so I need to add at the component annotation. And I'll add the instance of my DAO, private employee DAO empdao at the auto void. I need to add this imports. So I have added import for this employee DAO and auto void. So now I am going to write implementation for retrieving all the employees which are there in my MongoDB. So public, it returns server response, so it is a mono for non-blocking. Server response and get employees, and it take input as server request. So we need to add import for this mono, server response and server and this is request. Server request. So I need to return mono server response. So I'm going to call return. Server response has OK method, which takes the content type and body. So I'm going to call server response OK. We have so many different methods like OK, not found, no content. So based on our requirement, we need to select. Mine is 200, so I'm going to select OK. And I need to add the content type. So I'm expecting media type is application.json. So media type application.json. And my body is, in body I need to pass my flux employees and the type of data. So it is employee DAO dot. First I'll create all flux employees as an instance, one variable, flux employees equal to employee DAO dot find all employees. So we have find all method which gives all employees which are there in DB. I have added import for those things. So I need to pass this to my body method. Body method takes two arguments, flux data and the type of that data. It's employee class. So I have saved this. Now we need to define route for this get employees call. So now I'm going to create one package called router, new package dot. So I'm going to create employee router class. Employee router. This is a configuration class. So I need to add at the configuration. And in this class we'll be creating the routes beans. So I'm going to create public. The method returns router function of type server response. I will name it as route. So here I am passing my handler object, employee handler. I need to add import for server response. So I need to return the router function of this get employee details. So this is router function is the interface. The implementation is part of router functions. So I'm going to use router functions dot route method. That route method takes the request predicate and handler method. So I'm calling that route method. In the request predicate, we have get similar like HTTP methods. We have get, put, post, delete, all are available. So I'm going to use request predicates. So my method, my call is get call. So here we have to give the endpoint pattern. So I'm going to create one constant. So this is the same endpoint I'm going to use for my all CRUD operation. So I'm going to create it as a constant private static final string emp path equal to /employee. So I'm going to pass this employee path to my get call. This get call takes the media type, all those things. So, we have to pass using and call. So I'm calling dot and. In the request predicates dot content type, I'm passing my expected content type accept. It will accept only the media type application.json. So my handler, I have to give the actual implementation of this handler method. It was my get employees. So let me now we'll save and we'll run this. Yeah, before that I'll add my MongoDB details here. My MongoDB, I have started my local MongoDB, so I'm going to add the details. spring.data.mongodb.host data.mongodb.database equal to my database is local .data.mongodb.host is localhost my port is 27017 spring.data. MongoDB dot port 27017. So I want to connect to my local database. So now I'll start my application. So now it's connected to my DB localhost 270 and it is in port 8080. So let me go to Postman and hit the endpoint. So I have localhost employee. So let me hit this. It's saying not found. Let me check the path again. It was having some issue to connect to MongoDB. So let me restart my MongoDB. And I'll restart my application. It started. Let me go and hit my router class /employee. It's a bean, so I forgot to add @bean annotation. We have to create that router function as a bean. That's why it was giving not found. So let me save and restart my application. Now it should be picked. Yeah, we have 2 employees. We were able to retrieve the data. So now I am going to add one more get call, which is retrieve employee based on employee ID. So I'll go to my handler method, handler class. In that I'll create one more method called employee by ID. I'm going to copy paste the same class and I'm going to change it by ID. So it also gets mono server response. So I need to take the ID from the server request. So we have one method called path variable in the server request that gives the value of the path variable. So string ID equal to request.path variable. I need to pass the path variable name to that method, so it is ID. So employee find by ID I need to call dot find by ID, find by ID. It returns mono employee, so I need to change it to mono employee because it returns only one employee. If it is more than one, we have to use flux, but here it is only one, so I need to change it to mono. And here it is giving error because that type is not available. So there is maybe a chance that employee might be the ID whatever we have passed may not be available in database. That time we should get not found. So I'm going to create one instance variable private mono server response not found. Not found equal to server response has method called not found. So I need to call the build method that returns mono server response. So if the employee object is empty, I need to send that not found. If it is available, I need to return this actual data. So what I'm going to do was I'm going to check that I'm going to flat map and there I'm testing that if it is not empty, I was returning this, else I'm returning that not found, switch if not found. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to start my application. Oh sorry, I have forgot to add in the router for this method. So in the router function we can add multiple routes by using unroute. First one is route method. After that, if you want to chain, we can use unroute. So I'm going to use unroute. It takes the same way as handler and predicate method. So I'm going to copy paste. So my handler method was here, it is get employee by ID. So get employee by ID, and the path is I need to pass extra path variable ID. So I'm going to change that get URL employee slash employee slash id, and media type is application slash json, and handler is get employee id. So now I'm going to restart my application. So my server is started. So we have two IDs already available. So I'm going to retrieve for ID 1234 slash 1234. So we are able to retrieve details of employee 1234. If I give 1235, which is not available, I should get not found. Yeah, so we are getting 4 not found, because if in the handler method we have written if the data is empty, switch if empty. If it is empty, it will go to this not found. Thank you friends. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel.